with Fantastic Four coming out in just mere months and Daredevil on Disney Plus being divisive at best, X-Men 97 creator Beau DeMayo coming out being a straight savage towards Kevin Feige and labeling some pretty horrendous accusations at him, which, let's be real, do we really doubt? I mean, I think it's pretty fair that these are probably true. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and yes, for those of you that haven't seen, Beau DeMayo had this to say. Man, talk about never meet your heroes. I was informed by an employee at Marvel Studios that Kevin Feige's response to the success of the show, and it being their highest rated project on Rotten Tomatoes, was that he would prefer if it wasn't being used as a referendum on the MCU's failures. Alright, hold on, let's stop there for a moment. Kevin Feige would have preferred if X-Men 97 wasn't a referendum on the MCU's failures. Now, I had to take the L on X-Men 97 because, much like many individuals on our side of the internet, I thought that X-Men 97 was going to be an absolute ideological disaster, that it would just be so much more of all the identity politics and failure to do inadequate writing, that everything else had been up to late. And it turned out I was wrong. Again, I've said in many another video, and I'll say in this one too, your boy gotta take the L. Beau did the Lord's work. He straight up murdered with that show. And, yeah, of course it's going to be compared to previous MCU work for the last, 5 years or so. It's been the only good one. Like, it's been the only good one. I mean, maybe people want to throw out Spider-Man, No Way Home or whatever. Yeah, sure, whatever. I don't like that movie, but whatever. We can have discussions about it at a different time. The fact of the matter is, yes, when people have grown so accustomed to your films being limp dick attempts at trying to make sure the MCU stays culturally relevant, when something that's actually good comes out, the longtime fans that have either given up or are on the brink of giving up are going to laud the success and say, why don't we get more like this? So Kevin Feige can be as upsetty spaghetti as he wants. This is a bed that he made. His annoyance that people hold it up to X2. Oh, you mean what's considered to be the best X-Men film to date when it comes to live action? Yeah, why would it be a problem that people are holding this great show up and comparing it to what was known as the best X-Men movie up to that point? And again, X-Men, the original 90s show, just Uncanny X-Men, or it might have just been X-Men. Either way, is lauded as probably the greatest X-Men content aside from the comics themselves. So, again, why would you be upset about that unless you're just upsetty spaghetti because you didn't have your hands in that pie, so you can't take credit for it? Kevin did not give X-Men 97 any of his attention. I met with him to pitch it and was hired and never got a note from him afterwards at all. To be fair, probably why the show was such a success, because Disney and Kevin Feige and the heads at Marvel didn't have their hands in it and giving you all these notes, but let's be real, what probably would have been mandatory for you to fix your show. And guess what? Now that Beau DeMayo has been fired over accusations that so far we still have not seen any sort of proof of, it's all allegations at best, and there's an ongoing lawsuit about it, a la Gina Carano as well. Yeah, that's why Season 2 and onward will suck. I may have eaten crow on Season 1, but with Beau DeMayo not attached to Season 2, yeah, Season 2 is going to be everything we thought Season 1 would be, and it's going to be absolute dog shit. Now he's annoyed it did well enough without me and the crew needing him. Sort of disgusting disrespect and ego. Explains why I had to pay for the rap party for the crew out of my pocket because Marvel declined to honor the crew's hard work. Never meet your heroes. That's disgusting. Like, that is, and this is not the first time we're hearing something about this, by the way. That's why this isn't hard to believe. Rob Liefeld, ring a bell, anybody? The man who created Deadpool wasn't even allowed at the after party rap party for Deadpool 3. Like the dude who even made it possible was rejected from going to the after party. So yeah, it's not hard to believe that if he's going to throw a rap party for his cast and crew, that he had to pay for it out of his own pocket, because Disney doesn't give a fuck about its creators, especially the ones that are actually offering what we fans want. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine, I have a hard time even considering it an MCU film. I know it technically is, but let's be real, that was a Fox holdover, and Disney got to reap the financial benefits of it because they purchased Fox. Like, it was gonna happen no matter what under Fox, and I don't know if we're gonna ever get anything like that again. really the same can be said about this show. I mean, it wasn't a Fox holdover per se, even though it was an X-Men product, but the point is, it's not something that Disney had their hands in, and because of it, it's not looked at as part of the larger MCU as a whole. So we got Cosmic Book News covering this. Kevin Feige said to be annoyed by X-Men 97's success, and I mean, look at this smug motherfucker. Dude shouldn't be running the comic book branch of Disney. Dude should be a coach for a middle school football team. The claim comes from Beau DeMayo on X, who Marvel fired prior to the show's premiere for alleged inappropriate behavior, which DeMayo has claimed isn't true. DeMayo has also alleged there's racism going on at Marvel, and that various executives wanted to ruin the show. More on that below. Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld has also fired shots. Yeah, I'm going through this article for the first time. Yeah, bingo, bango, bongo. They also draw in the comparison to Rob Liefeld over alleged behavior towards him at the Deadpool and Wolverine premiere. So we already went through what DeMayo said about Feige. I wanted to go ahead and get that to you from his actual words as opposed to from an article. About a month ago, saw Beau DeMayo release a statement on his YouTube about the Disney Marvel allegations. He said in part, "These allegations of egregious misconduct are false. The rumors being spread around me online are lies. They are offensive. But more concerning is that they are a smear campaign designed to discredit my credibility in order to cover up egregious prejudicial misconduct stretching for select crew members on X-Men 97 all the way to the top studio at Marvel's." By the way, I have no trouble believing this. Again, look at what they did to Gina Carano. Look at what they did to Rob Liefeld. Disney does not care about its talent, about its creatives, whatever, unless you're willing to fall in line. And again, Beau DeMayo, he's a nerd's nerd. He's a real nerd. He is actually out here trying to give something that the people wanted. How do we know this? Because Beau DeMayo has actually interacted with us. He has been on Gooch's show how many times now? Like 3, and talked about this, has openly confirmed that Disney doesn't want its directors, its creators, reading the comics or adapting the source material. They are actively telling them not to do that. I mean, Beau effectively had to fake being a fan in the pitch meeting to get the show greenlit in the first place, only for it to turn out that, yep, he was a comic fan, he knew what he was doing, he was able to give us a proper adaptation. Like, yeah, that's when you've got the folk in charge of adapting comics telling their directors, their lead creatives, even though it's all done by committee and the directors are brought in just for name only, not to read the source material, not to adapt the comics. That should be a red flag for any actual fan out there, but Disney isn't out here to try and impress actual fans because, oh no, that would lead to a quality product that we would then in turn go and tell our friends about, and word of mouth, and it would spread and would make these movies successful. No. The agenda is all that matters with Disney, and they can't have an agenda if the comic book source material doesn't have that same agenda in it. Why do you think that Daredevil Born Again is being titled Born Again, but isn't actually covering the Born Again storyline? They just want to draw people in with a name. It's that simple. When I called this out, they pivoted, attacking my talent, accusing me of being too much of a fanboy, accusing him of being too much of a fanboy. The guy you got to work on the show to impress fans. Don't you think you would want a fanboy doing that? They openly resented me fighting for the fans, fighting for the comics. They accused me of playing karaoke with those comics, and repeatedly I was told these individuals they would be doing our own version of the X-Men, writing new stories and not adapting those written by old white men, by which I can only assume they were referencing individuals like Stan Lee and Chris Claremont. And let's be real, we all love Stan Lee. Stan Lee's amazing. I met him. Dude was a sweetheart. Chris Claremont is who actually popularized what we think of as the X-Men. And so, yeah, and Chris Claremont has been very open about how he does not like this modern era of Marvel and identity politics and things to that effect. So, yes, when Beau goes in and faithfully works on the Claremont, a Claremont adaptation, oh, that's gonna upset Disney because Claremont, not exactly a fan of Disney. DeMayo went over some of the changes Marvel wanted, which include having Jubilee throwing up gang signs. These individuals would attempt to sabotage me and my job, painting me as abusive when I declined to make wholesale changes to characters, when I declined to have Jubilee fire plasmoids from her mouth, or make gang signs, or paint the sky with plasmoids in the shape of middle fingers. That's not something Jubilee would do! But of course, Marvel comes in with their "how do you do, fellow kids?" and wants to send a message. I guarantee you they want Jubilee throwing up gang signs so they make some sort of Black Lives Matter allegory. DeMayo added the alleged smear campaign surrounding him is aimed at distracting fans from the truth. No, not fans, sheep, because real fans are on the side of Beau DeMayo because his work spoke for itself, or real fans should be on the side of Beau DeMayo because of pattern recognition and what we've seen Disney do to creators like, again, Gina Carano or Rob Liefeld. People that go against the grain, go against what the socially accepted narrative is inside the House of Mousewitz. It's absolutely disgusting, but once again, we got Beau coming out like a straight-up G, refusing to back down and saying, like, you know what, no. Obviously, there's an ongoing lawsuit, so he probably can't say too much because, oh, well, that's all going to get brought up. But him just retelling a personal story about Kevin Feige, I think is pretty, I mean, goes to show that he's fair to do. He did it on X, and these accusations are not without A, credibility, B, merit, C, believability. I mean, let's be real. Who wouldn't believe this? We've got some stuck-up rich dude who thinks he knows better than everybody else, who claims he's some sort of comic aficionado, even though everything after Phase 3 has been abysmal, and you got this dude come in who no one had ever heard of before and put out the most banger Marvel content again, since Endgame, and I'd go so far as to say that, frankly, the MCU has been on the decline since Phase 2, so I'm very hard to impress when it comes to, I'm kind of a comic book purist. I'm very difficult to impress when it comes to superhero movies. I think the vast majority of them are slop. Yes, that includes the MCU pre-Phase 4, even when everybody else was loving it. I was liking the good stuff too, but the bad stuff, I was calling out as bad stuff. The fact of the matter is, you got Beau who comes in, drops what everyone assumes is going to, at least what everybody who's been paying attention is going to assume would be just ideological slop with terrible writing and disrespect for the characters and disrespect for the creators and the original writers and for the medium as a whole. And it turns out to be some of the most banging content we've gotten since Sony did Spider-Man 2. Oh, yeah. I bet that gets Feige's goat, and he is not happy. And Beau out here exposing it. You love to see it. But those are just my opinions. Let me know yours in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word. And please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news nearly every day. Not always about the comic book scene, but anime, music, video games, you name it. Check me out on Instagram at wordsparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get involved with over 180 other vital idols. We are a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that I cannot wait to grow even further because we do care about diversity. Only one kind of diversity of thought. If it's interesting to you, join the Discord, hit subscribe, and until next time, it is all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.